Yeah.
There it comes.
Yeah.
Oh, active documents.
No.
What?
Okay.
What? For some reason, Audition thinks I changed audio sources, and I didn't. So give me 1 sec here.
Sure.
I'm going to do prep and TMS2.
Why you do the change? I did not do the change.
You do the change? Okay, there he goes. It works now, and we count it down in 3, 2, 1.
This truck is called an F-350 Super Duty Lariat Turbo Rebel 6.7L Power Stroke B20. Do you think that guy's fun to hang out with?
You want me to say the words?
The morning stream, 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 the morning.
You can't spell the morning stream without remonstrating. This is the morning stream.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the morning stream. It is Thursday, January 7th, 2021. I'm Scott Johnson. I'm joined today, shockingly, by Brian Ibbett. It's shocking.
I know, what a surprise for everyone. Hello, my goodness.
Wow, can you
wow.
believe it? Look what we've done.
Yeah.
We've somehow made a really rare thing happen today, that the two of us are here.
What is happening? Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's been a real fun 24 hours here in the United States. Just having a blast here. And all you, you know, we can no longer say first world problems, because at the moment we have a bit of a third world one. And it's not the kind of thing you usually see here on U.S. soil. We're not going to talk about it all day, but I'd be lying if I said it didn't affect our day yesterday.
Oh, good Lord, I know. Yeah, I was in the process of doing some tech stuff here that had my machines shut down and doing other things for a while, and turned stuff on early afternoon and was just floored by what was going on.
Well, you probably got just clobbered by that, because if you were
it was like,
blissfully unaware, that must have been crazy to see all that.
It totally was, exactly. But
I watched it kind of in real time, which I don't even normally do. I just happened to be, because I was interested in the count.
Like, you were what?
I was interested in the count, which they had started proceedings for, and I just wanted to see how that process worked. So I had C-SPAN on, a stream of C-SPAN of all things, which is normally, boringtownusa.com. But for whatever reason, take part in the process. Just want to see how it works. I've actually never watched one of the counts before, so I just thought, well, I should watch this one. This is a big one. Yeah. And so it started going, and then they were like, we're adjourned according to pursuant to section whatever. Mics went off. The stream actually said, because I was watching on stream, the stream when they went off the air said, this stream does not exist.
Oh, wow. Yeah. How very Matrix.
Yeah, it's very Matrix.
Had, Lawrence Fishburne come on and say that.
Some IT guy in their little video department's having a good laugh at me, but anyway, all that stuff happened, and it was happening in real time, and then I texted you, and you're like, oh, I've been working on this stuff, and let me check. Oh, shit!
Exactly. And then I started going kind of back through Twitter a little bit, and between you and Richard Marks, it was basically like... I
love how you follow Richard Marks. I think that's great.
Yeah, it's funny because...
I don't follow him, but I think it's great that you do. He's a little
first
too...
part of that?
He's just a little too... how do I put it? He's just really... Okay, let's put it this way. On a week where, let's say it's a day where I don't want to worry about anything, he's always worried about everything. So he's always yelling at me, and I'm like, I don't know, Richard Marks.
This is like a little bit of the pot calling the kettle light gray.
Oh, yeah,
not
yesterday.
Black.
Yesterday I couldn't be stopped. There was no stopping me.
Yeah, but on a normal day, I agree with you. Yes, Richard Marks is... I'm just saying, what I'm trying to say is, you do that, but certainly not to the degree that Richard Marks does.
Oh, yeah, he's into it. But
nobody does it to the degree.
Anyway, it was dumb. It was a dumb day, and that's the least good words I could use for it. It was a bad day.
Yes, but I hope that dude gets to take his Loyal Order of the Water Buffalo headdress with him to prison. I really do. I hope they allow for him to.
He shows up on every photo because why wouldn't you show the shaman guy You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I mean, obviously he knows this. Like any good cosplayer knows, if your costume is out there and contrasts with everyone around you, you're going to get all the photos. And sure enough, freaking QAnon shaman guy or whatever his name is.
Right.
The best part is, this is actually kind of funny, because that's what we do on the show. We try to find the edges that are a little funny, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's some, there's this thing going around where a bunch of people think his name is Via Getty. And they're saying, look out for Via Getty. If you see any other online activity, this is the man we're looking for in the shaman outfit. We've learned his name is Via Getty. That was never his name. Somebody started that because the image of him came from Getty Images, and they wrote in the article
Via Getty. Oh, that's...
And so all these people like legitimately thought that dude's name was Via Getty for a long time, and no matter who told him, it's like, dude, no, it's freaking Via Getty Images. Like
Fragile. It must be French.
That's totally it. That's totally it. A real life version of that freaking Fragile thing, basically, is what happened there.
Oh my god.
People are dumb, but whatever. So Kim and I did a thing we've never done before, and this may have been a mistake because it leads to the other thing I want to talk about.
Okay.
Stayed up till 1:30 or so.
Pot.
Yeah, we smoked some weed. No, we didn't do that. We stayed up until like 2 o'clock in the morning or something, watching the process. Again, never really seen it, and I was really curious, like, how does this work? And then also, how does it work with some objectors? And that's certainly happened in the past, but I never witnessed it. I want to see how that stuff goes, and how do you respond, and who argues what, and everything. And boy, howdy, is it repetitive. Like, they just kind of have to say, the state of Missouri submits it all looks freaking good. What do you think about that? Okay, we're good. We're certified this and that. Any objectors? None heard. All right, moving to the next one. And you got just Pence up there rattling these off. And then occasionally Alabama or somebody would go, hold on a second. We object to what happened in Nevada, even though we got shit all to do with that state. We think you should stay here.
Right.
Well, did you guys sign it? Well, no. All right, moving on. And then everyone claps. It's like this very strange experience, but we were up watching it. It was all very intense. And we were also just like the whole time thinking, man, like 3 hours ago, some wackadoo was sitting up at that front of that thing with his arm in the air and his phone taking a selfie. Like,
yeah,
just behind you there, somebody was shot, and on that other side, they found pee. Somebody peed.
Oh no! Did somebody really pee?
Yeah,
in there?
somebody peed all over the place in the House chamber thing. Yet here they all are, and I guess they're something to admire about everybody getting back to their post and getting the job done. But anyway, so we're up way too late. Finally go to bed. Here was my dream. Are you ready to interpret it?
I'm ready. Let's do this. Let's,
okay. You appeared in the dream, but you had no major role in it. But you appeared.
Okay, so was I B story or was I just an extra?
You were an extra looking on, but looking very serious the whole time.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I like that. Okay. Wow.
So here's what happened. Dr. Fraser Crane.
Paid role? Was this a paid role or is it just scale?
$50 or something.
Okay.
It's,
all right. It's for my reel.
Craft services.
My demo reel.
Yeah. You get food. There's like a bread roll thing or whatever.
Okay. Sorry.
So I know you're good. So there's Dr. Fraser Crane. Now it's not Kelsey Grammer. It's the character Fraser Crane, played by Kelsey Grammer, but it's not Kelsey Grammer. It's him playing the character of Fraser Crane. So he's all suited up. He's got the early mullet thing he had in the early seasons and the late cheer seasons.
That like I'm gonna have as much hair as I did when I was young. I'm just gonna shove it all to the back.
Exactly. Now, for some reason, he and Sean William Scott, you know him.
Yeah, Stifler's.
Yeah,
Stifler.
Yeah,
that was it. Stifler's mom's son.
Stifler's mom's son, but not playing Stifler or any other role. He's just Sean William Scott.
He's actually Sean William Scott. Okay.
He's there with Dr. Fraser Crane, right? And these two are. This is the weird part. I'm sitting in
this is the weird part.
Yeah, this is the weirdest part. I'm sitting in a stool, or on a stool. Sitting in a stool sounds like a poo. I was not sitting in a stool.
Sitting in stool.
Yeah. I'm sitting on a stool, stripped down to nothing but a pair of undie-bundies, right?
Uh-huh.
And they were Sean William Scott was rubbing me down with melted butter, like just like scrubbing me down with butter.
Okay.
And it was warm butter, like it was really tangible, like it was gross. So he's rubbing me down with butter while Dr. Fraser Crane was walking around me and giving instructions to Sean William Scott while he's doing this, but he was walking around with a pair of tweezers and some sort of eye magnifier, kind of like Lodge It in Your Eye monocle style. But it was more like a jeweler's eye because it had length on it. And he would walk around my body and find little hairs and pull them out, but it only could be an area that had been fully buttered properly. And that's what he was yelling at him for. It's like, this area is not buttered properly. And he'd come around and fix it. And then he'd pluck out a hair and say, all right, we've got 3. And he'd put it in a thing. And he just kept doing this, like rotating around me, looking at all the angles, trying to find all these little hairs to pluck. And you were standing off to the side, staring at me the whole time, just staring at me.
That tracks. I think that's exactly what I would be doing were I really in that situation. Listen, at any point did Fraser Crane offer to toss your salad and scramble your eggs?
No, but I'm really glad he didn't, given the state I was in. That would have been, I would have taken that the wrong way had he.
Oh, yeah, that would have been too far, that point.
Yeah, I really don't know what to make.
Down with warm butter. But
now you'd think after watching, a bunch of freaking thug idiots attack the Capitol building and get in there somehow. Boy, that security's pretty great. For a second here, let's just mention this.
Sure.
Are we all that shocked now that Nicolas Cage figured out a way to get the freaking Declaration of Independence out of there? Well, it seems like it's not so hard.
Like all of a sudden, Gary Oldman getting past security onto Air Force One seems pretty viable.
Yeah, no big deal. That North Korean guy slipping into the the place while Aaron Eckhart's none the wiser. Doesn't seem that hard anymore. Anyway, so. So I thought after watching all of that and just seeing, so many of the images and being just pretty worked up about it, and we stayed up late watching the proceedings, you'd think my dreams would be filled with that stuff.
That's what I would have expected. Exactly. Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was Dr. Fraser Crane and Sean William Scott, of course, together at last, buttering me up, pulling hairs out while Brian watched.
It would have been, I would have guessed that your dream would have been watching the late great John Candy dressed up as a security guard saying, "Oh no, folks, you can't come in here. Oh no, all right, well you're gonna have to turn around and go. Oh no."
That would have been cool. I would have taken that. I like that version of John Candy, so I would have been down with it. But it was real dumb.
Yeah,
and
it's a bizarre. I can't even make heads or tails of that dream. All right, let's see here. So, what is the underlying?
Yeah, what do you think?
How are you feeling during all this warm butter? Does it feel normal to you, or is it like you feel like you're only doing this because Fraser Crane is demanding it? Like, what's
okay? So, am I am I a willing participant in the buttering and the pulling of hair?
Because that's really what it comes down to. Is in your dream, how do you feel about what's going on? Tells you more about what's happening in your real life that's making you feel like this, right?
Okay, that's a
if
good
you
point.
feel trapped,
right, by
Sean William Scott and Fraser Crane. Then that means you feel trapped in real life and you're somehow
right. Well, okay, so I can tell you that it didn't feel like this was against my will. It felt like I was a participant in that. I was just sitting there waiting for the process to be done. The feeling of it was, it's like getting a haircut, or I'm getting about to get a facial. Sit still, we get a hot towel, like all that. You're just I was like at a what do you call that? Like a spa. It was like a spa time, and it was. Why I say that is because it's different than, say, my wife giving me a haircut, which is the most chill experience in the house. Like, no big deal. Kim does it. It's whatever. I go take a shower and I'm done. But when I go to a place, or if I ever went to a place, I've never paid for a haircut. But if I had, there's a little bit of, like, not tension, but there's apprehensiveness because these are strangers and they're doing your hair for the first time. And you're still pretty chill and you're there on purpose because you want a haircut. But it's not like these are your family. You don't really know these people. So there's that one little wall of, like, whatever social distance. That's a bad word this year, but you know what I mean. Like there's a separation there,
a separation,
a membrane of familiarity,
compartmentalizing or whatever. Yes,
exactly. And so it never. But I didn't. So I did feel that, but not any kind of like under duress or any of that.
Here's my theory.
Yeah.
So if your dream, the disc jockey that spins your dream every night is kind of looking through the day's greatest hits, and he's flipping through the albums saying, nope, can't use that. Nope, that one's not going to work. Oh God, no, don't want to have that one in his dream. I don't know. Here's this Dr. Demento record. Let's go ahead and just put this crap on. That's basically what your dream was last night.
Okay, you know what?
There was nothing else in the F to do.
I feel like you're probably correct. Like there's nothing to suss out here. I think it's just I talk to you all the time, so you being in a dream isn't that weird.
I'm just glad I wasn't doing the buttering, because that would have made this the last episode of TMS.
Good point. I will say this. This is an important thing to mention. Frasier has been on lately because Nick's been watching it.
Okay.
And he's been here while his apartment's being looked at to sell or to get out of his lease so he can move to Minnesota. So he was watching Frasier the other day, but I didn't sit and like watch an episode or anything. I just heard Frasier freaking out because of something happened to the station.
But the Sean William Scott, when was the last time that
Exactly. Never.
I mean, we talked about people with multiple names, multiple first names, and Sean William Scott, dude's got 3 first names.
Yeah, he's an outlier for sure. I haven't seen any movies or TV or anything with him in it. So
yeah, hasn't come up in film sack in a while. No. I don't know. That's a really weird one.
I mean, I did watch an episode. So this is the thing that reminded me of when I woke up. I watched an episode of What We Do in the Shadows, and one of Nick Kroll's vampire cronies, or I'm sorry, 3 of them were called Neil, Patrick, and Harris.
Really?
And
that's great.
It's possible.
I forgot about that.
It's possible I somehow, because I laughed really hard at that. I saw that yesterday. I laughed really hard at that, and I just thought that's a really funny way to break up Neil Patrick Harris's name and give 3 vampires each one of his names. And it's a really funny moment, and it stuck with me. So maybe a 3-named actor thing stuck with me, and then you get to Sean Williams. I don't know. I don't freaking know. Anyway, the mystery continues. Chat room, it's your job now. Listeners at home, send us an email. themorningstream@gmail.com. You tell me what's wrong with me.
Speaking of people rewatching television shows, I have been, as I mentioned on the show, my comfort food lately has been Community, going back to Community, which I gotta say is not the, I mean, I love the show. I think it's one of the best sitcoms of all time.
You already loved it. You loved it already.
I already loved it.
Yeah.
But boy, I was reminded about how uncomfortable a lot of the stuff on that show gets. You know, I mean, it's these 7 people, because I'm still in the seasons where there are 7 people.
That means no Chevy Chase yet, or
that means Chevy Chase hasn't left yet.
Oh, that's right, because he was there the whole time.
Died.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in there from the get-go.
Right.
But they're always on the border of hating each other, with the exception of Troy and Abed.
Right.
But it really just takes like one thing to kind of make them all flip and go nuts on each other, like the monkey Annie's boobs, who steals one of Annie's pens in one episode, and it turns into like this 12 Angry Men. I'm sure there's actually a better comparison of like, people locked in a room, no one can leave until they figure out, and everybody kind of turns on each other. But if you have not seen Community, and this is out there for everybody, it's on Netflix, check it out. And absolutely, as you're watching it, look in the background at the weird crap that's going on in the background. There's like a they plan these things out for such a long time. There's like a mention in season 1 of Beetlejuice, and then in season 2 they talk about Jeff's underwear being black and white stripes like Beetlejuice. And then in a Halloween episode, Annie mentions Beetlejuice again, and just as she does, a guy walks by in the background in a Beetlejuice costume, meaning that's the 3rd reference to Beetlejuice, and that's
pretty
that's
great.
when he shows up. That's like the seed planted for multiple seasons that finally pays off, and it's amazing what these guys do, and the Russo brothers too. Like that's
I forget how much they had to do with that, right? They were directing tons of episodes and
the pilot, and a lot of the the episodes.
Who knew they would freaking become what they became? But it's I need to go back and watch again. If it's all on Netflix, I have no excuse. Why don't I just do that? I should do that.
Yeah, it is. It's so good, and
I think you convinced me.
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch.
Yeah, it's good comfort food, and it's so damn hilarious. And maybe you stop at season 5, maybe you stop at season 4. I don't know.
When did Harmon leave? Was it 4 or 5?
Harmon.
He left in a huff.
Left season 5, I think. Oh yeah, Alucard points out. So there's this episode where they're planning a surprise party for Abed. Yeah. It's all Pulp Fiction. They rented a diner, got a diner, and everybody's dressed up as different Pulp Fiction characters. And Jeff has the job of getting Abed to the surprise party. And so they're having dinner.
Yeah.
And Abed's not taking the bait. Like, he's basically wanting to have this meaningful conversation with Jeff about this experience he had going to the Cougar Town set, which was his favorite show before he found Inspector Spacetime, and getting to be an extra until he pooped his pants and had to immediately run off.
Didn't they end up doing crossovers on Cougar Town as well?
They did a crossover of an episode of Cougar Town where Abed is the Danny Pudi is an extra in the background who is like looking directly at the camera at times and gesturing the same way as Busy Phillips, and then all of a sudden gets up and runs out of the background because presumably he pooped his pants. It's like such a brilliant show. It's so freaking meta, and then the, you know,
Cougar
the
Town was
greatest
also
episode
very
of
good,
all
by
time.
the way. Cougar Town
What's
was
that?
Cougar Town was
Cougar
actually
Town.
pretty.
I've never
freaking
seen
funny.
it.
It was good. You'd like it. It's like
I just watched it for that clip of Abed.
It's not bad. I thought I wouldn't like it. It's like it reminds me of Arrested Development, sorta. It's just that kind of comedy. Anyway.
Okay. I'll check it out.
Sorry, you were about to say the best.
I was going to say,
ever.
and then the best episode of all time is the Chaos Theory episode where it all centers around a roll of a die to see who's going to go meet the pizza guy, and they keep experiencing the same thing 6 different ways depending on which one of them leaves the room and how different things happen.
Yeah, I love that. That's some Rick and Morty stuff he was working on.
It is.
There.
It absolutely is. Man, you know, that's exactly like the gestation of Rick and Morty.
Yep. Dan Harmon at his most
Yeah.
primordial. All right, well, I'm going to watch it again because you have convinced me to watch it again.
Yeah.
Well
and
done.
You know what I'll do? I'll finish up as soon as I'm done with this. I'll finish up West Wing, and by finish it up, I mean watch more than just the first episode.
You have so much ahead of you. I'm so excited.
I know.
I love that show so much. You're going to love it. All right, we're going to do a fun thing today. By popular demand, also because I like it. We're going to add someone to the call right now, and I thought I had it all set up, and I don't. So let's see if we can figure that out. Here we go. We're going to talk about a really weird thing that popped this week that has nothing to do with politics, and it starts after this.
I think science is cool.
Welcome to the program, Bobby Franks. Bobby, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi.
Hi. Hey, what's going on, Mr. Science Man? Nothing really happening in the world, so you're probably just sitting around thinking about science all day yesterday. It's fine, right? No problem.
Yeah, it was really easy to find science headlines because those were the only headlines.
That's all you could find.
Yeah,
that was
there's
it.
like it basically is just talking about who's a pick for the Emmys in 2021 and science.
Science.
Yeah, exactly.
And what are the science of picking people for Emmys? That's all I could find. Well, I'm glad you're here because turns out there was, and it's a weird story. And I actually heard this or saw this somewhere and said, you know what? I think I'm going to put this in the TMS lineup. And then you talked to me and I went, no, this is perfect for having you on and talking about it. So tell me about these satellites that are made of a material that you might not expect to be made into satellites.
Yeah, so let me ask you a question before we spoil the punchline, I guess, because I do think this is kind of a joke, and I'll get to that in a second. But what do you think satellites like? What do you think needs to be considered when you're deciding a material to make a satellite out of?
Well, something that would do well.
Biodegradable.
Wait, Brian's onto something. Hold on a minute. My first thought is something that is durable, can handle a little space debris, that will be sturdy and stay in orbit.
As light as possible, so it takes very little fuel to get up there.
Yeah, exactly. One that isn't going to just, fall apart and crash to Earth a week after you put it up.
Or that if it does it in a way where it, burns before it hits the ground kind of thing.
Right. I mean, it's just funny because I've never really thought about it before. I just assume satellites are like, oh, well, they look like this. They have a few little dishes on them. Or like those
fortunately,
panels.
there are engineers and scientists who spend a lot of time thinking about it.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad they're in our lives, those guys. They're
yeah, so another thing, you want them to be able to withstand extreme temperature differences. Because in space, things like one side of a satellite will be warm from the sun, and the other side will be really, really cold. So
Oh, expansion, contraction, that sort of thing too.
Things like that. So there happens to be a material that is strong, light, and can withstand the temperature differences that a satellite has to go through, and that is wood.
Oh my gosh, what?
Wood?
Wood?
Right.
Oh,
wood.
man.
So what do you think about making a satellite out of wood?
Well, there's an episode of Futurama where Bender gets basically transplanted into a wooden version of himself, and he lives with a bunch of robots that have like given up their technology to live free and wild in nature or whatever.
That's right.
And I remember there were problems with that. There were some water issues, but I guess in space there's not really a water problem unless you take it up there. I'm trying to think why this wouldn't work. Actually,
well, so let's talk about so this is an area of research that's being done over in Japan by some researchers at Kyoto University, and they're working together with a forestry company, Sumitomo Forestry.
All right.
They're trying to see if they can build a wooden satellite by 2023, so just a couple years away.
Okay.
Wow.
And they're exploring like different types of wood. You know, it still needs to be light. There are some very heavy woods, and
they're very. It seems like there are more heavy woods than there are light woods. I mean, balsa.
balsa.
Yeah.
Make
What
it out of
paneling
balsa
count? I mean, that stuff is actually still pretty heavy.
Yeah, don't we have a bunch of that we can strip off of some old houses and like build stuff out of it?
Exactly. Just pull it
I've
out of a
got
bunch of
some
shag carpeted
plywood
basements.
that's been sitting in my garage for like 3 years. They could have it.
So let me ask you this: like, obviously, we're not talking about the electronic bits because that stuff's you can't make can't make silicone or you can't duplicate what a satellite is actually functioning as with the wood, but you can house it there, and that's the idea.
Circuit boards, the materials that are used for circuit boards are chosen for very specific reasons for their material properties. So you can't really replace that. But yeah, so they're talking about mostly making, like you said, the housing out of wood. And the headlines surrounding this are all about space junk. And that's what the researchers are looking into, is how can we maybe make a satellite out of wood to reduce the amount of space junk that is out there existing. And
there's a ton of it, and not just I'm not just saying that because I've seen Gravity and I know how much of that stuff is like on a
no kidding, scientific
quick orbit ripping through.
Sure. You don't want Sandra Bullock's
There's an
thing
MTV satellite that nobody's using up there right now, isn't there?
Probably.
Was that a movie I saw?
There are probably multiple satellites that are just sort of dead and floating.
A bunch of Krypton criminals in a bedroom mirror floating around.
Yeah, that's what's up there. But like the more we put up there, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of the movie WALL-E, when the ship leaves orbit and it just pushes through like 1,000 satellites.
That's right.
To get out of there. And I don't know if it's that bad, but
yeah, we see that in movies and whatnot, and we think that when people talk about space junk and how many satellites are out there, we think that it must just be this like wasteland graveyard of metal surrounding the Earth, and it's not exactly that way. There's around 6,000 satellites that are in orbit right now.
Yeah.
So that is a lot, and 60% of them aren't working anymore. So there's quite several thousand satellites that are just literally are space junk. They're just floating around out there.
60% don't do anything now?
Right.
That's
because
crazy.
back in the day when we were sending out tons of satellites to do things like GPS and all the things that satellites do, we weren't thinking about how do we get them out of space. They just wanted them up there. So there were no deorbiting plans that were ever put into place for how to do it. They were just like, we'll put them up there, and if they fall down, they fall down. If they don't, they don't.
Why don't we send up a dude with a killer set of tools and have him just like fly up there and make a new satellite out of all the old satellite pieces?
I like it.
That's a really good idea.
Brian, always thinking like a recycler. Well done. I like that.
Add on to the space station, the International Space Station, with pieces of the
and make the Russian guy do
City
it.
satellite or whatever.
That's the other thing.
I don't think Circuit City had a satellite. But
they
still.
probably didn't, but that's a good point. There are probably some out there that are like defunct companies now, right?
Defunct telecommunications companies, and
especially early 90s stuff, and everybody was scrambling to have a piece of that. And
a Radio Shack satellite is up there somewhere.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's great. Does it have it's realistic brand? It has
that's right, exactly.
So, all right, this is very fascinating to me because it's the kind of stuff you just don't think of. Like, wood? Really? Wow. Okay. And then it starts to make sense. Here's my question. Do they bother worrying about like a nice finish, you know? Like making it nice and
do they stain it? And,
yeah.
Well,
nice,
Elon
nice
Musk is
mahogany.
in charge, I bet you they do. Yeah.
If Elon does it, they do. Okay. Because I wouldn't mind.
Well, I mean,
nice,
it's got to look like a Tesla Roadster. It's got to have a Starman inside of it.
We already have one of those. That's what. See, we should have sent a guy up in the Tesla Roadster to drive around and pick up all the pieces of satellite.
Mm-hmm.
With a
Yeah.
net.
Where, by the way, where is
Exactly.
that now? Do we know where that is? That car?
I think it's on its way to Mars. It's approaching Mars. I think it's pretty close, actually.
I freaking
Oh,
love
really?
that.
So it wasn't. I thought it was just put into orbit. So it's actually.
I
Just-
could have my facts wrong about that, I will say, but
I want
I'm
it to be
pretty
in
sure I
orbit.
read recently.
I want it to be floating around and just like above the Pacific right now somewhere, just a car. That's
just
what I
playing
want.
music, just like.
Oh, I
With
love
some
that
sunglasses
idea.
on and like a cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
Oh my gosh, I love that. All right.
So you said, Scott, like it makes sense, but my question is, does it really make sense?
I mean, it does. Look, it does from a. You still have the problem. You've got other materials in that thing that aren't going to be so biodegradable. But also, what does wood do in space? Does it even like? Let's say Let's say one of these gets old. It's 10 years later. It falls out of orbit, or it breaks or whatever. What does that actually mean? Nothing changes. It's the same as any other satellite. It's just floating up there like junk. It's just wooden junk, right?
So if the point is to reduce space junk, there are kind of two angles to this space junk problem.
Yeah.
There may be more, but two main angles. So there's the first angle that the researchers have been talking about, which is a deorbiting problem. So when a satellite does deorbit, it burns up in the atmosphere mostly, and they're usually all made out of aluminum. So that aluminum burns up, and there's aluminum particles that are spread throughout the atmosphere, and these researchers are worried about what that might do to our environment.
Oh, I see.
But
All right.
which on the surface sounds like, okay, that's a good idea, but it's not really a problem. Aluminum in the upper atmosphere that we're talking about wouldn't probably, and the amounts that we're talking about probably wouldn't really be much of a problem. But let's assume that it was. Let's assume that we'll find out eventually as science progresses that aluminum is a problem in the upper atmosphere. Well, again, they're only making the casing out of it, which satellites can be pretty small.
Oh no! Oh, he just went behind the moon.
Did we lose you?
Bobby did.
Bobby, you there?
It's the government trying to shut him up.
That's right. They don't want to know about these new wooden things.
While we're waiting for him to come back, TVZ Gone posted a link to a website called whereisroadster.com, which tells you where Elon Musk's
Really?
Tesla Roadster is.
Where
I don't know. Is this really accurate? Like, is he?
is Roadster?
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're
Yes,
back.
we can hear you now.
Hello.
Yep, welcome
I'm back.
You're back.
Yes.
Welcome back. You got as far as saying, I forgot. No, you said.
So I was talking about the
oh,
problem
aluminum,
of-
and it is how it's probably
Yeah.
not going to hurt us. And but even let's say it did, and then you got cut off.
Yeah. So let's say that the aluminum is a problem in the atmosphere. Only the outside casing is what they're talking about making wood.
Mhm.
There's also all the other things that go into a satellite and getting the satellite up there. So the major source of space junk is from like the booster rockets that have to get it into space.
Wow.
You can't make those out of wood.
No,
I mean,
Mhm.
not yet.
these Japanese researchers are going to be on it though.
Yeah, they're going to figure it out because then you can burn the wood while you burn the fuel, which will somehow get the wooden thing out there and not burn the wooden thing. It'll all work out in the end. I have faith in my Japanese friends. They make robots that seem like they could kill us. So, so why not?
I've seen them.
Yeah, I've seen those
Yep.
things dancing. It's bad.
The other side of the space junk problem, though, is the stuff that is not deorbiting. So there's a ton of stuff just floating up there, like we talked about.
Hmm.
And making it out of wood is not going to solve that problem. It's still going to be out there. It's still going to run into things.
Yeah,
and
it's just going to
possibly-
be a new flavor of space junk.
Yeah,
right.
It just
might,
base wood.
you know, be susceptible to rings from your cups sitting on top of it
That's right.
or something.
Wood in space.
Use a coaster on my satellite.
Right.
Well, that's this is really interesting stuff. And by the way, that site that we did find the Roadster thing, I'm looking at it right now. Whereisroadster.com. For example, the car is 98 million. Yeah, 98,401,712 miles away. Currently,
that's definitely on the way to Mars.
It exceeded its 36,000 mile warranty a long time ago. Anyway, it's out there, and keep your eyes on the prize, everybody. Bobby, tell people all around science, rather, and where they can get it.
So I've got a science podcast where we talk about all sorts of science stuff called All Around Science. You can find that. It's a podcast. You know how to find podcasts, presumably, you're listening to this.
Hope so.
And or go to allaroundscience.com. On Monday's episode, we're going to be talking about COVID again, because everybody loves talking about COVID.
Yeah. Great.
We're going to be talking about the new UK variant of the virus. You guys heard about that?
Yes. There's something
because it appeared here in Colorado.
Yep, it's making its way downtown.
Yeah, it's here, right? 57 cases or something as of today, or something like that, where they can confirm it anyway. So that's fun.
So we're going to be talking about that, what it is, how it's different. It's what if it's something to worry about, whether the vaccine is going to pose a problem for the vaccines that are out there, stuff like that. So listen, All Around Science is the podcast.
Nice, Bobby. Always a pleasure. We'll see you next time, and I think we're going to start doing this on Thursdays, guys. We're just going to start doing it.
Yippee!
Start having them on, talking stuff. We might swap you out for the Australian lady once a month, but other than that,
well, I'll
Lucy from Oklahoma.
Yeah, Lucy from Oklahoma will come once a month, and then those other times are yours. But yeah, let's plan on it because it's fun and I like science. Bobby Frankenberger, everybody. We'll see you soon.
All right, see you guys.
Bye now.
See you, Bobby.
Does he like the whole burger in there, or should I just say Bobby Franks like he goes by?
Bobby Franks. I think Bobby Franks. I think that's becoming his nickname.
Yeah, his moniker, as they say.
Right, a stage name.
Stage
name.
I like that. Okay, now this.
I don't watch the news.
Time for the news. Brought to you by
Space Junk.
And Coverville. Oh, it's Coverville today?
Coverville today. Right. That's thanks for the reminder.
I usually put it in there and I didn't.
You do. I wish you would have reminded me about the show I do every Thursday. Scott, what's the matter with you? Yes, today Coverville paying tribute to Jerry Marsden, who is the was the lead singer of Jerry and the Pacemakers. Passed away about a week ago, but left us with some amazing music, things like Ferry Across the Mersey, his classic version of You'll Never Walk Alone from originally from Porgy and Bess. Summertime, he did a great version of that, Gershwin's Summertime. So we'll be celebrating the music and the life of Jerry Marsden of Jerry and the Pacemakers. Plus, we'll begin the episode with a tradition that if you're a Coverville fan, you're anxiously awaiting.
Oh.
But I won't say more than that. That's all I'm going to say.
Dropping those fat hints.
That's right. You'll just have to listen to see what I do.
Well, all right then. Also,
twitch.tv/Coverville at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, the only time zone that matters.
There you go. That's perfect. And when he's done, it's almost time. Well, no, that's 5. Never mind. But later in the day, you can watch Core. Just stay on the internet.
Still do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Why not? That song, the Cross the Mersey thing, whatever it is.
Ferry Cross the Mersey.
I used to hate that when I was a kid, and I think it's the same thing where I get bugged by words today, like
really?
Laboratory or gymnasium or things like that.
Wait. What word is bothering you?
It's
Mersey?
something about Mersey. It's the name of a river. I know, it's a river. It's a real thing, but it's like the Thames. I don't want anyone talking about the Thames anymore. Stop it with the Thames talk. Okay, great. You British people, you got your Thames or your Thames River. That's great, but I just hate hearing it. I don't know why. This is a me problem. It's me. There's something wrong with me.
Sorry. Porgy and Bess. Summertime is from Porgy and Bess.
Yeah.
Not You'll Never Walk Alone. That is from Carousel, and that was Bert Camford, if I remember correctly.
Camford.
I think I had those reversed, but I'm getting corrected by all the old people in our chat room.
Yeah, there's some older folks who know what they're talking about in there.
That's right.
And, they're going to tell us. All right.
By the way, just as I was doing that intro, Best Buy got a quantity of PlayStation 5 consoles for sale. I got the alert letting me know about it, and immediately sold out.
Wow, that was fast. Yeah.
Sold in, sold out. So if I seemed like I was scrambling for what to say about Coverville, it's because I was trying to buy a PlayStation at the same time.
Been trying to get an Xbox for a friend, or at least let him know when one pops. Same problem.
Yeah.
As soon as they show up, they're just freaking gone. This is just the way of consoles.
There's a Zoolert. What you got to do is set up a Zoolert tracker for that as well.
Zoolert. Is that the
Zoolert.com? ZOOLERT.com. Like
and
anything.
this can be used for lots of stuff, not just these?
Can be used for lots of things. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Look at this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so man, they've even got like hand sanitizer, disinfectant wipes, like all kinds of COVID product that are hard to get.
Oh, really? Like,
yeah.
when are Clorox wipes going to be available in my local Walmart?
No kidding. Let's see. These are Clorox. Sold out, sold out, sold out. They're in stock at Amazon, but very few left.
Yeah.
Man, they're sold out everywhere. Holy crap, Clorox. You're making bank this year. Jerks. You better kill 99.9% of those germs. All right.
Exactly.
Here's the first story. Angry chickens. So Garrett and Jocelyn.
I like this game, yeah. Angry Chicken. Mm-hmm.
And you got Garrett and Jocelyn causing real trouble.
That's what I call Hearthstone. It's just the Angry Chicken game.
That's right. They have been wreaking havoc at McDonald's in a parking lot in the drive-thru in New Jersey. Actual chickens, not the nuggets obtained from chickens.
Right, yes, the chickens themselves, minus their nuggets.
Yes, exactly. That's why they're pissed.
Yeah,
they're mad. They're like
they've lost their nuggets, and we're not going to take it anymore.
My nuggets. What of my nuggets is their complaint?
Bok.
Yeah. Maybe it's a false flag.
Maybe it's the chemtrails that are turning our chickens gay.
Yep, those are the ones. Police were called into action when a flock of chickens started wreaking havoc at this McDonald's in New Jersey, in the Garden State. Washington Township Police received a 911 call at noon on Tuesday for a flock of chickens attacking drive-thru customers in this parking lot somewhere near Route 31 South. So you people there in that part of the world know where that is. You people. Warren County Animal Control Officer Robbie Laganera responded to the 911 call. He was able to tackle one chicken and chase a second chicken and then capture it with a net, which is a really bad movie with Sandra Bullock. The Net. Have you seen the Net? You've seen the Net.
Yeah, of course I've seen the Net. So I was with you for Film Sack. I was making a joke about a woman named Annette who was assisting the animal control officer, Robbie Langanera.
Fake news. Officials say the chickens are safe and will remain in Warren County Animal Control for 7 days and then be put up for adoption if the owners have not come forward.
I'm thinking Ronald McDonald is saying,
I'll take him.
7 days we get him back, right? If nobody comes to claim him, we get him.
I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Then we know they need them. They got 3 new chicken sandwiches this year. They're trying to compete with the Popeyes and the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwiches that have been so big.
Yeah.
So they
have their own spicy chicken going?
Well, they did already, but it was kind of garbage. I think these new ones are like big, thick, potato roll style bread, like monstery looking. They're just trying to compete with Popeyes. Popeyes?
Like Popeye?
Like Popeye.
Not like Popeye?
Well,
like Popeye.
Like Popeyes.
Popeye? I don't think Danny Glover says that word as much as I make him say that word in my impersonation.
No, what we've done is for a generation of people who haven't seen Lethal Weapon in a while, we have Mandela the hell out of that quote.
They're going to watch that and go, he just says like Popeye, not like Popeye?
Yeah.
He says like 2 times, and I think I put in there like 6.
I prefer your way. It's better.
Yeah, me too.
No word on whether the chickens were angry about McDonald's plan to roll out new chicken sandwiches, by the way, which this article says. Hey, Brian, when's the last time you checked for mushrooms in your ear?
I've got a portobello growing in my left right now, as a matter of fact.
I got a shiitake in my left.
Have you got shiitake in your ears?
Or are you just happy to see me? All right.
You're so full of shiitake.
A Vietnamese doctor was surprised recently to discover dozens of small mushrooms growing in a man's ears. Ugh.
Why are there quotes around the word mushrooms? I don't like that.
Yeah, what? There
They're not even really mushrooms.
What do you think that means?
I don't know.
Quote unquote.
Or they just
mushrooms.
they just use it for emphasis, like people use the, quotes around things like "close the door"
or legitimate
don't
election. Yeah.
Use a coaster on my satellite.
Right. Well, here's the deal. This guy had mushrooms in his ears, I guess, or whatever quote-unquote mushroom is. The patient came to Dr. Kwong in the Hanoi something in December, complaining of painful and itchy ears. On examination with an endoscope, Kwong found 2-centimeter-long fungi growing from just above his eardrums. Quickly removed them, told the patient it would take a few days for his ears to recover. The fungi was... the fun guy... was causing inflammation.
He's a real fun guy.
Yeah, he's a real fun guy. He's got fungi in his ears. Let's see. The fungi was causing inflammation and his uncomfortable symptoms. The patient had likely transferred the fungus into his ears after sharing ear hygiene equipment from others, according to the doctor. Ear hygiene equipment.
Really?
What's
like
that?
A Q-tip?
Yeah, what would that mean?
Ear hygiene equipment. Why aren't there quotes around ear hygiene equipment?
Yeah, no kidding.
Since they're so free and loose with the quotation marks.
There is a video here. Oh,
I can't do it. I don't think I can do it.
This isn't gonna go well. All right, well, let me actually see.
Oh, or was it? Yeah.
I mean, apparently this is video. We'll see.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, it is.
For those of you eating, by the way,
There is video.
you may want to look away.
Oh wow. Yeah, he's got little bitty mushrooms growing in there, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, now I have to look. Damn it.
Oh,
Damn it,
that's
Scott.
Horrendous. I feel like he ought to get that taken care of. I guess he did, but
Yeah.
holy Moses.
Why are there little kids in the room? Oh, look at that. It's
Yeah.
like
Look at him. The little
it's
mushroom
like
heads.
Mario's third level in there.
Right. Well, this is the worst No Man's Sky level I've ever seen. Yeah. No, this would be.
Kingdom. That's right, it would be, yes.
That helped. That helped with having to look at that to do that sound.
It actually did, yes.
Oh, that is really foul. All right, well, yeah, don't do things that give you a mushroom ear. The worst thing I've seen lately is there's this video. I don't know where it came from, but it's in some far away place in the world. I don't know where they lift up this guy's gum, or his upper lip, just pull it way up, and jammed way up where you're, that kind of area where your inside of your lips meet your gum tissue and all that.
Yeah.
Just like 20 or 30 worms just wiggling in there.
Oh, jeez.
I know. I know.
I call that Zesta saltine storage.
Yeah. Yeah.
that area.
Yeah. Oh, my Lord. It's so gross. It's just foul. And he didn't look none the wiser. Like he's just sitting there going, oh, yes, looking around the room. And they go, and they see all these worms and they back up and he's just sort of like, whatever, man. Freaking, I'm normal.
Yeah. Nope, not happening.
Anyway, it's really fantastic. All right. One final show note here, or one final story.
Story?
Check this out. The Danes, or the Denmarks, what are they called? They're not Danes, are they?
Danes, if they're from Denmark.
Yeah, Danes, right? Danes.
Yeah, they're Danes.
They're Danish.
They're Great Danes.
That's right, they're Great Danes. They're horse-sized dogs. So, this is an interesting story, and also every time I hear something about the Danes, it's weird. Children's TV show about a man with a giant penis airs in Denmark. Yay! Line up.
Hey kids, it's the Dirk Diggler Show!
Yay! With Dirk
Special
Diggler.
guest stars Milton Berle and
that guy who's in trouble right now, who was in porn. I
the
can't remember his
hedgehog
name.
guy. Yeah, exactly. I can't remember his name.
I can't think of his name either. Who's
The hedgehog.
Is the one the hedgehog? Yeah, I don't know his name.
Yeah.
Chat room
No one
will know.
wants to. Do we judge? There we go. Benjin 006, the first person to jump in with Ron Jeremy. We won't judge you for how quickly you got that, Benjin.
Yeah, that was a little fast, buddy. That was like right on the lag of Twitch, and then you knew it. So Just kidding. Anyway, children's show about this dude is real. John Dillermand has an extraordinary penis. So extraordinary, in fact, that it can perform rescue operations, etch murals, hoist a flag, and even steal ice cream from children.
Oh, jeez.
This is a Danish thing. They have a new animated series aimed at 4 to 8-year-olds about John Dillermand, the man with the world's longest penis, who overcomes hardships and challenges with his record-breaking genitalia.
Wow. Okay.
Unsurprisingly, the series has provoked a debate about what good children's television should or should not contain in Denmark. I mean, I'm trying to keep note in mind here because over here this just wouldn't fly. But Denmark, maybe they got, I don't know, whatever. They're less worried about the unit. Since premiering on Saturday, opponents have condemned the idea of a man who cannot control his penis. In this really the message we want to send to children.
David Duchovny.
Oh yeah. David Duchovny, good call. This club is getting bigger and bigger. It says, do we really want this? Is this really the message we want to send to our children? While we're in the middle of a huge Me Too wave, wrote the Danish author Anne-Lisa Manstrand Jorgensen. The show comes just months after the TV presenter Sophie Lindell kickstarted Denmark's Me Too movement. Kristen goes, let's see, standards, trying to get back to the show here. She believes, Erica Heinsen Holsted, a clinical psychologist who works with families.
Feels like a story that was purely written to get you to say 11 different Danish names. Let's see. What words can we put in the title to make sure it comes up in Scott's Google alerts? I know, penis.
There you go. Got it. She says, this psychologist says, she works with families and children, says that she believes the show's opponents may be overthinking things. This is a quote from her. John Dillermand talks to children and shares their way of thinking, and kids do find genitals funny, she says.
Yeah.
They're a hoot. The show depicts.
We don't have to ask the question. John Dillermand, what's his power?
Dillermand. Oh, I want to see a picture of this guy. Is that in here?
He's right. Well, Captain Kipper just put one in the.
Oh, he did he?
In chat and.
Oh my gosh! Really? Is this really it?
That's really it.
All right, I can show this. Hold on.
Yeah.
Here you go, chat. So it's a little claymation-y show or something?
It's a little claymation-y show, yeah. It's the Fallatubbies.
Wow. Nice.
So Dillatubbies.
Dillatubbies, well done. So he's
clearly he's got Mr. Fantastic's unstable molecules costume.
Is there going to be, you know how He-Man came, right? There was He-Man. And then later we got She-Ra.
Like He-Man? Like
He-Man.
Not like He-Man? Like He-Man, right?
So then we got She-Ra. Will we get a vagina lady after this who can like pick up footballs and stuff with her vagina or whatever?
She'll be able to throw footballs with it, Scott.
Yeah, because kids think genitals are funny. All right, well,
Willy Tubbies. That's even better. Okay, that's the one.
What was it?
Willy Tubbies.
Willy Tubbies. Very nice.
The kids,
Very nice. Honestly, I don't know what's weirder, this or Teletubbies. I've seen Teletubbies. It's freaking weird.
It is freaking weird. Yeah. That was the age. Tristan was the age where he would watch it, and I was transfixed by the damn thing. I couldn't look away.
Same. You have to watch it. It's a train wreck.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a break. When we come back, my sister will be here. We're gonna talk about whatever the alternate term is for New Year's resolutions. I don't know why I'm avoiding it, but I am.
Yeah, because there is we'll talk about that, but there is a negative connotation of New Year's resolutions.
I agree.
Yeah.
During this break, though, Brian's going to play a song, and I'm going to go practice putting lighter fluid on my grill with my long penis. Brian, explain the song while I go do that, please.
And listen, if you can light a match with it, now I'll be impressed. Let's go to Austin, Texas for a 5-piece indie group that's got a brand new album coming out called Somewhere. It comes out February 5th. The band is called Sun June, and this is nice. This is just a nice, I think it's what we all need today, a nice song. This is really good. The song is called, the brand new single is called Everything I Had. The upcoming album is called Somewhere. Here is Sun June.
Hey, kid, if you're pulling my leg, I'm going to eat yours.
How about we check back later, maybe drag you out for after parties?
The morning stream. The fresh snacks with a snack in the middle.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for returning to the program. We're back, Brian and I.
Thank you for returning our call.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. It's good to be back. We are going to now add my sister to the call.
Okay.
A lot of people have said, hey, didn't Wendy have COVID? No, it's my other sister had COVID. Wendy did not
Plus,
get
you can't catch it over the phone anyway.
No. Plus, Wendy's very careful about things like that, and wouldn't surprise me if it would shock me if that was the news. But nonetheless, and notwithstanding, let's play this.
Everyone knows it's Wendy.
Welcome to the program after a long break because of the holidays and Thursdays being in weird places in 2020. Welcome, Wendy, back. Hi, Wendy.
Hey, hi guys.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello.
it's my sister Wendy, a real therapist and psychologist. She's here of her own free will, comes here on Thursdays and gives us cool advice on stuff, sometimes answers your questions. Today we're kind of in advice mode, but...
what if you made me do this? As you said, free will. I was like, what if this was like...
What if I made you? Yeah,
I'm like, help, Brian, help
Brian,
me.
get me out of this. It's like I'm holding up some sort of mythical cold soldering iron to your forehead, making you do this every week. Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway, but I am here on my
so she is here, and here's the thing: we're not going to talk about yesterday. Yesterday was weird, and we're not done with it. It's a mess.
It was poo.
It was poo.
Weird.
It was poo.
Weird.
Yeah, yesterday was the day where weird's the worst, is the most smallest term I could use.
Yeah.
But it did make me wonder if I could cancel my service after a 7-day trial of 2021. Because it's day 7.
Nicely done. Yeah,
I don't want to pay for that first month. Anyway, we're going to do that. Instead, we're going to try to be forward thinking about the year and talk about, I don't know, I guess these are resolutions, but less resolution-y and more like, what is the thing that we really want to try to accomplish this year? And you asked me pre-show, hey, you guys come up with a couple things you want to sort of like, do. And I assume it can be anything, but let's jump right into kind of what you meant and see if we were right with what we picked.
Yeah, well, I'm going to deconstruct the crap out of them. So that's the plan.
Oh,
just
fun.
to warn you.
Fun.
No, really, okay, so first of all, there's something about January, right? Like something happens where you, and as much as everyone's like, don't expect 2021 to be better, everyone has to admit, tiny part of them was like, possible. Something might go better.
Yeah, no, you do.
I think
even
2020 set the bar pretty damn low.
Yeah, pretty low.
But even in a time like now, like the normal years, you feel this way. You know what I mean? Like you always do.
Energy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I've been thinking about why, like what actually happens, and like if there's a history buff out there, what did this look like historically, where you're like the darkest night of the year, and it's starting to get lighter, like there's something biologically related here, right? And probably historically shown in the record of various cultures and people or whatever. But sort of obviously New Year, and yeah, let's celebrate it. Lots of cultures do that, but there is just maybe some renewed energy. So what do we do with it? I think the modern version is you just ate yourself sick for the last month.
Yeah.
And then there's this moment where you're like, I'm either going to die or I need to stop. And so there's another biological imperative or something. So then, you get this big boost. You start to think big. What are we going to do? We burn through that energy pretty quick, and then we're back to living our baseline lives. So that's, pretty typical. But I feel like this year is interesting because our energy is already lower and weirder, and I feel like if you make any plans, they're just going to get canceled on you. Like we all have some trauma, I think, from, and this isn't even to speak to people who are grieving and like lost many, many things, right? So this is just your average Joe who's done fine in the last year in theory, but it maybe is emotionally not doing so great. So I think everyone's at different places. So let's just say that. So let's just take your thing, Scott, you're thinking about. And Brian, what are you thinking this year you'd like to do? You'd like to
mine's quick
not
and easy.
Do.
Mine's quick and easy.
Not do is a good one.
Not do is a good one. Okay, for me, it is. You tell me if this is too broad, because maybe it is. because I have some specifics too. But I want 2021 to be the year I massively simplify who I am and what I do and what my day is. And so by that I mean there's stuff in the studio I don't even touch. I got to get rid of it. There are boxes of duplicate cables I'm never going to need. I've got stuff, that I would call, junk that I've held on to for no good reason other than, well, I might need it one day. I don't want to do that anymore. And I don't know if that's like, there's a little bit of dad in me. Dad was a little bit of a pack rat and never got rid of anything, it seemed like. And so I tend to see something like, let's just say something as simple and dumb as a parallel cable for an old parallel printer or scanner, and I'll see it and go, oh man, remember those? That was like 20 years ago. Never gonna need that again, but maybe I will. And boy, that day I'll sure be pissed if I don't have that.
If I need it all of a sudden and I don't have it.
Right. Yeah. But then I go on never needing it, and I want to simplify. And those sound like really like, I'm not talking about just like material things too. I just mean like I want to read more. I want to give myself more space, buffer my time a little bit, be less on all the time, and find more quiet time. Like just a general overall simplification is what came to my mind when you told me that last night. So that's where I am. Brian, you tell.
So that's where you are, and I have like 1,000 thoughts. So Brian, let's see if yours is similar. Or do you have you want to add more to your?
Mine is similar. It's minimizing distractions. So like basically having little tiny DeLoreans on my desk. I want to kind of reduce the number of all this stuff around me so that when I'm working and I'm working on one thing specifically, move on from the next thing. That sort of thing. And it kind of goes along with the simplification Scott's talking about, because it's not just doodads and toys and trinkets. It's, well, I've got a micro USB cable sitting here. I don't need 11 micro USB cables sitting on my desk, or this battery charger thing, or like portable battery phone recharger thing. I mean, I can figure out which ones of those I need, get rid of the rest. I'm never going to need a situation where I need to take 5 battery phone rechargers out with me.
Are you sure?
One should be enough. Yeah.
Are you sure?
See, this is the thing. It sounds a lot like mine. Like, and I've talked to others who have expressed a similar feeling of like, just shake off some of these shackles of like distraction and or too much stuff or too many subscriptions or whatever. Like, just get to a place where you're just less held back by that stuff, or at least I feel like I'm held back by that stuff
for sure.
Oh
no.
Hi.
Oh, you're back.
Oh, there we go.
We lost you for a second. You're good.
I think that was just me pausing. No?
Oh,
okay.
Don't pause. What are you
All
doing?
right, no pausing. Just talk. Anyway, I think so we got to start with a couple of human factors here, or just psychological factors. So you have 8 micro USB cables, and you've got cords from the 1990s,
Right.
and so just for a moment, like, I want you to both describe what happens when, like let's say Kim or Tina walk in right now with a bucket of fire, and they grab your micro USB cables and say, oh, you only need 1, and they take the other 7 and they put them in the incinerator.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what feeling does it evoke?
I wish Kim was here. She would.
I'd like to say it would be just like, oh, that's great. Thank you for finally releasing me from my self-made prison of obsolete cables.
Yeah.
But it'd be like, oh no, which one did you throw away? Oh crap, no, not that one.
Yeah. There would be a lot of I'll do it is what I would say.
Yes.
Like, why are you doing it? I'll do it. Like, I do this to my kids, where, Nick, who's moving out your direction soon, might have something here that I'm like, we're not keeping this. Like, I'm gonna freaking throw this thing away. But if Kim did that to me, or anybody else said, oh, I'm just gonna take this extra mixer of Scott's and just throw it away, he's obviously not using it, I'd be livid. I'd be like, come on, man. I get to choose when. So you're not wrong. Like, I would be very defensive of somebody doing that.
A possessive thing, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, they've done this study where they gave people mugs from like a Goodwill, so they cost like 50 cents. And I'm trying to remember exactly what they did. Oh yeah, they gave him free crappy mugs, and then they had some people use them, and then other people not use them, and then they went to sell them, and they got to decide what the price was. And people who had used them, and felt some kind of ownership of them, and thought they were worth like $5-10. And the people who never used them were like, yeah, you can just give them away, right? Like, there was no attachment, and we're talking like such minimal. It's already junk. Someone just handed you and you used once, and now you're attached to it. And this is this very core human survival impulse that's been here a long, long time, which is, I need that blade that's so hard to come by so I can kill that animal to get food for my family,
Is it like a nesting instinct or something? Like we just got to have all this stuff around us in case we need it for kind of nesting purposes?
What drives us to do that? Because it does feel, I used to feel this way with Dad. He would have so much stuff in the garage and you couldn't move anything in there or park the car. And I remember thinking, is it just to hold on? I don't know. I've never really understood it, and I do it too. So, no judgment for anyone who keeps their stuff. But
cost is such a big part of this, right? Like you've put all this money. So when you look at your 8 cables, you can, maybe you're not consciously going, that represents $100.
Yeah.
Right.
But you, on some level, you've paid for those. You feel but you could afford to go buy one. If all of them disappeared and you had to get another, you could go do that. You are not actually in a position where you're dead and your family will die also because you've lost that thing.
Well, I also know that the second I buy one more electronic device, I'm going to get another micro USB cable to replace the 8 I threw away.
Exactly. Yeah. So it shouldn't make sense. And again, this is kind of my point today, is that bringing your conscious awareness as much as you possibly can muster to there are psychological things afoot in all of this. It's not you as a person are bad or good or lazy or sloppy or a hoarder, or that there's a lot happening here, right?
Yeah.
And everyone has different reasons. So, if we go back in time, so Scott, we could just already assume you had modeled to you some hoarding behavior.
A little bit.
Dad lost his job, which means all of a sudden things could all go awry. That's pretty deep in there. And so to say, you know what, I'm getting rid of all my stuff. I'm going to simplify my schedule. I'm only going to work in ways that are nurturing, are going to be that goal is dead by January 15th when someone's like, well, here's a big gig. You want it? And you're like, yeah, of course I do.
Yeah.
And now I have no time, but also it's this impulse is driven a lot by history, but also driven very much by this biology thing, right? So when we are talking about simplifying or getting rid of things, and for some people, and there are a few people out there, I hope some are listening, who are like, are you kidding? They're having dopamine fests in their head when they throw stuff away.
Yeah.
So they're very on a different scale.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I get that too. Like when I throw something away, there's the initial, ooh, am I going to need that? But then it's almost immediate, like, oh my God, it feels so much better just getting rid of that and it not being this albatross sitting in the basement.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to Maria Kondo.
When Tristan moved out.
Yeah. That was like, oh, do I want this kid? Oh, now he's gone. I feel better.
Now he's gone. Oh my God, it's so much lighter.
But I mean, if we could all Maria Kondo our way around the house, great. But those people who really love that, love putting out the old and not necessarily replacing it with the new or whatever, I would love to do that. I do have this thing that I started that is based purely on my own idea. I call it 3 a day. And I just started on the 1st. Every day, 3 things get chucked. And if they can be donated or used in some, somebody could use them or needs them, then that's where they go. But 3 things a day are out of here. And my theory is, I might be crazy, but my theory is after, you do the math, after enough time with 3 of those a day, you're going to clear stuff out pretty quick, right? As long as you stick to it.
As long as you're not buying 4 things a day.
Right.
Yeah.
or even 3.
I mean, I know someone who does. If she brings anything into her house, she gets rid of something. So it's a 1-to-1. She never brings
that's
anything
also a good
new.
way to do it. You won't reduce, but at least you won't increase.
Yeah. Okay. So you're getting to the core of my advice today is, and there's a book you can read all about. It's called Atomic Habits. And the idea is that it's just very, very small things compounded over time, which is literally the only way anything ever works in the end, right? Let's be clear. Yeah. So for example, our big rush of energy that we get in January, or in theory we get in January, we expend it by doing everything all at once. And then what happens once you clean all your office out and do blah, 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 it's just going to accumulate right back, and you will be exact same position next New Year's Eve. If it's not daily and small. And that is hard. Now we do daily small things all the time. So both of you name one daily small thing you do every single day. You don't even have to think about it maybe anymore, but it's just something you do every single day. And then let's talk about the impact of it.
I mean, anything, because
anything.
I make coffee, like I brew coffee every day. Get up.
I feed 3 dogs and put them all out to poo.
Okay.
Every day.
Now imagine you didn't do those things at all. What would happen after a week?
Well, Brian would be unlivable on this show for his.
Yeah, exactly.
Agreed.
Yeah, just kidding. He'd be all right.
All right.
Thought your house would be full of dog crap.
The house would be what would happen is there'd be screaming, yelping dogs upstairs who are all dying to pee, take a dump, and eat. And Kim would just have to do it, and then she would be like, I guess I'm cooking, doing the dishes and this other stuff, and I'll go ahead and take care of these dogs that I actually don't want. So then we'd have like a problem, potentially.
Yes. Okay. So that is the point of these atomic habits, is that they accumulate and create a consequence. So if I eat, like I did this morning, cake for breakfast, if I ate cake for breakfast for every morning the rest of my life, eventually there will be some biological response to that, or accumulation of something maybe that's not great. Or if I deep breathe and meditate every single day, I'm going to accumulate something at the end of that. So we do it in both directions all the time. Our problem is we like to try to do a big thing all at once. And we have to use willpower for that, which we don't have a lot of. And I say even less this year. People do not have as much willpower as they used to. And so it needs to be really small. So for example, let's take your simplifying your life, Scott. So you've started an atomic habit, which is 3 a day. 3 a day, you get rid of something.
Yeah.
Why would that stop? What would be the thing that would get in the way of that?
What would get in the way of that? Well, I mean, obviously not sticking to it or getting busy and
running out of stuff. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, eventually you do run out of things that you can throw away, but I don't mean this to be like a permanent lifestyle of all time. I just mean it to be, I don't know what the metric is for when I've done enough, honestly, but I do know that there's plenty. So I'm starting with this storage space we have, and I'm doing that first, and then just kind of working my way out. And if I get to the end of the day and I haven't done it and I'm like, I need 3 things quick, what do I have? It can even be, well, there's this can of empty soda sitting here, and also this cable I don't need, and also this piece of paper I've never used, but let's throw it away. Or it could be as big as, here's a box that a computer came in 8 years ago that I kept in case I had to send anything back or in case anything went bad, but it never did. So now it's just sitting here for no reason and won't fit anything else in it that I ever need. So, big space savings there. But, if I don't do it, I feel like I failed for the day. And if I do it, I feel like I got something done, that I actually accomplished it. I don't know. I'm not sure how I should feel.
I think too, you could create it as the maintenance thing. And that's the key here, is that you do something very small and you do it consistently, and it has some sort of reward, cyclical reward built into it. So it's less about using willpower and more about getting the benefit. So if I say, clean my whole house, Marie Kondo my whole house, you're not going to get it done. You will quit, and you will have piles on your kitchen table, and then you got to just find places to put it, unless you can maintain the willpower to do the whole thing. Now, some people can do that, right? But what if you, let's just say it was the 3 a day, you go through 3 books, get rid of 3 books you don't need anymore, and you
Yeah.
take care of them that day. Now, the key would be from start to finish, those 3 things are taken care of, which means you drive them to Goodwill, you give them to the person right within the day.
Yeah.
You're just gonna have piles at your door if you do. Anyway, but it's the maintenance, right? And so what you'll get is the reward slowly and in steady doses, and then you can do 3 a day the rest of your life, Scott, and it'll be like the soda can or taking the garbage out, right? There's other versions. You can
Sure.
Yeah. No matter
So
how
it's a really
small.
great idea.
Yeah. Here's the thing,
Okay,
though.
but then- go ahead.
The well, anyway, keep going.
I was just going to say, then where does this lead to you simplifying, like taking that sort of bigger goal and Brian's too, of just like how to stay focused and how to simplify, streamline, or whatever it will be. First of all, you have to understand why you don't do that now. Why is that not the thing now?
Yeah, see, this is kind of where I was headed. So you're basically saying what I was trying to formulate. Like, I hadn't really given it this kind of thought. Like, what's my end game for this? Like, what am I trying to achieve or feel at the end of it? Is there an end to it, first of all? And if there is, what do I expect to see there? I don't know. Like, maybe I don't know that. I mean, I do know that holding on to, we'll keep it simple, holding on to material things is not a road to happiness. On the one hand, I've got this, yesterday Van was playing with it, but I've got this car. You probably remember it, actually, because your childhood would have had this car in it. But there's a little red ancient car. Where is it? A little plastic one that I had when I was 2 years old, and played with that thing till I was 6 or 7. And I remember it. It was always in whatever toy box we had. It was always available to me. I'll never get rid of this thing. Like, I will keep this forever because it's this relic of, my entire life. But there's things sitting next to it, like a Funko Pop version of, I don't know, some Star Wars character that I don't really care about. So why is that here? And that'll be one of my 3 things today, probably. Give it to a kid, neighbor kid or somebody. I don't know.
The hardest thing in doing that, because I need to do it too, is stuff that people have given us, really generous listeners to the show or fellow producers, podcasters, whatever, who've gone out of their way to send something really nice. It's like, okay, that's cool, but I don't have shelf space for it, or a wall space to hang it, or what do I do with it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't.
So that gets to that emotional attachment.
It absolutely does. Yeah. So it's not just a matter of, I might need this someday. It's like, no, I feel like I'm disrespecting the person who gave this to me if I get rid of it.
Yeah.
And let me just let you know about a secret with Marie Kondo, that she is Shinto.
She actually really isn't Japanese. She's from
she is Japanese,
Staten Island.
Yeah, she's from Staten Island, New York, and she's 2 feet tall. That's the other thing you don't know about.
She's a follower of Shintoism, which is essentially, if you break down what she's talking about, when she like honors all the things in the house and doesn't want your socks to be mistreated, is that there's this basically spirit in everything, right? So you're abusing things by mistreating them or piling them up or whatever, and so when she's just like, does it bring you joy? If not, you need to free this thing. Like it has like such a deeper meaning that I think maybe as Americans we could adopt a little of like, out of respect for this thing someone gave me, I'm going to give it a new home. Like maybe we can channel that piece to it, because again, we're worried about the people, not the thing. And I think that's why she can throw everything away and like live her life so cleanly, because she's got this deeper sense of it. Whereas we're just like, I need more stuff to feel better about myself. And it's not necessarily sort of, if I take anything from her, it's this really deep respect for yourself and how you feel in your space, as well as respect for the item, which I don't know if I can ever conjure, but bless her for doing it, right? So that idea, though, is if deep respect. So, Scott, when I hear your plan to simplify, or even Brian, less distractions, that is, now imagine if there was someone in your life who just like stood next to you and did the distractions or piled on your work or was just kind of awful to you. You wouldn't feel very respected, but you're the ones doing it to yourself.
Right.
Yeah, I do. His name is Hammond Chamberlain.
Take that, Hammond. Take
Just
that.
kidding. Keep going.
That idea, right? Though that like out of respect for your, to treat yourself well, you know, if we can extend her love of socks and don't fold them that way because it's rude to them, like, how about to ourselves? What is your constant distraction and your inability to relax or play or rest? Like, it's not self-respect. And so to find some deeper meaning behind what you're choosing to do this year differently can really help. Like, it can really be the boost of, so like Scott, you're saying, what is your end game? What is the point? Is the point to feel peaceful? Is the point to feel less embarrassed when someone comes over to your house? Is the point, like, what do you need out of this emotionally and psychologically? And if that is it front of mind, and then the habit to get there or the behavior to get there is very small and daily, you'll have more success.
I found, so I think I may know the source of why I'm even thinking about this. It just occurred to me. We're helping Nick get ready to do this move. Yeah. And it's all, it's a little stressful from just a parental aspect because, we're going to miss him. He'll be gone. But on the other hand, the other day I was like, there's no better time in the history of the world to have one of your kids move out of state or even the country, because we have real-time communication with everybody. Like, we can just talk anytime. Like, if this was me at 20, you're basically gone. You're basically in the desert, in the wilderness, right?
Yeah.
Like, nobody knows where you are. You don't know where they are. You can't check in. And when you do, it costs an arm and a leg because long-distance phone calls are ridiculous. And that requires someone to be out of phone. And, like, all these things. And we don't have to worry about any of that. So I'm less on the fence about it in those terms. But what I have witnessed during all of this is he has had to do his own version of simplifying. He's basically just going to take what he can fit in his car. And when I saw him do that, or see him starting to do that, and shedding excess junk or waste or whatever he doesn't need, and he already doesn't have a ton of stuff, but seeing that, it reminded me of me around that age where, the shirt on my back and what I could put in a backpack was good enough. It's all I needed. And I'm good to go. And the world is your oyster and all of that. It made me realize, boy, you really do nest over time. Like, you just build up all this stuff, and it's not even, doesn't even have to be expensive stuff. It's just stuff, like whatever the stuff is for whoever you are. And it just made me feel, or made me, it compounded the feeling I was already feeling of, like, boy, I'd sure like to be like that again. A little less burdened by what is, what I'm carrying, and a little more, I don't know, a little more agile with your life. And because he's about to do that. And I don't know. I just think that's where it came from. Or at the very least, that's what brought it to my mind yesterday when you asked. Because, he's about to do that very thing. It's him, his car, and his dog.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's great.
It's got to look so freeing too, like from the outside, like watching him do this, like, oh man.
Yeah, he's so excited. Like, he's really jazzed. He's nervous, but that's normal. And but he's got a cool opportunity. He's gonna take it. It's in a thing he wants to do and learn, and like, it's all cool.
He's only an hour from my house.
Yeah, he's like close to you, so.
So does that mean you'll actually visit us?
Oh, hell yeah.
What it takes?
Yeah,
I mean, son.
Here's the thing. We would have been out there before now for
I know
mandatory freaking Minnesota meetups. That's pretty good. MMM.
Mandatory.
Because we got fans out there would love to have us meet in the Midwest, but yeah, COVID and all that. But so that's the other thing is, like, I'm really grateful that you guys are actually out there, not because he'll need you, but because, I don't know, it's just something nice about proximity. But anyway, I'm rambling, but I guess what I'm saying is, seeing him go through that is prompting some of this for me, of like, yeah, well, I'm not 20 anymore, but I can sure cut back.
Rid of this bobblehead.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't need this bobblehead anymore.
Or 80 chords from the 90s.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do is to talk to my kids about the is it matrix dot printers, and just like
dot matrix.
Dot matrix. Thank you. I can't even remember the name now.
No, matrix dot printers is the new domain for finding your matrix dot matrix printers. Yeah.
Anyway, to remind them how old I am. Okay, so hold on. Let me say one caveat here. Let me do a little plug for people get their therapy on in 2021, and that is this: if the thought of doing some of the stuff we've talked about, or like you may want to, but like when it comes down to you starting to try to throw something away or gather something to like do something different, and you're just sort of plagued with anxiety about it. I think so often what we do is we'll have an idea and we'll move to try to make that idea, and then we get blocks and we don't know what to do with that, so we quit. That's really, really common. So if the block is an emotional block, which all blocks are, by the way, this is where, a little curiosity goes a long way of like, okay, what's that about? Like, why am I, what's my resistance here? And sometimes it might just be that I'm tired today, but other times it might be that I'm really anxious about letting this thing go. And there are reasons for that. I did a training once on hoarding behavior, and in the audience, I had people share just their different experiences or people that they knew, and just, what the anxiety, to try to see it rather than when you're not a messy person or something, you're just like, what? You don't get it. But when you have had, you have a different experience when you're collecting your things. Like Brian's cables are really important to him. We don't know why. We can't just assume. And so anyway, I had a woman in the audience share that her good friend was quote unquote a hoarder, and what didn't become one until she was like in her 40s. And what had happened was they had, cleaned out and thrown tons and tons and stuff away as they're about to move. And as they're moving, this is awful. Oh, this feels like such a Donna story. Sorry. But the moving truck ran over and killed their child.
Oh, geez.
Oh, my God.
It was horrifying. Yeah. And this is after everything they just threw away that was hers, that they didn't think they needed to take. So for the rest of this woman's life, she wouldn't throw anything away.
Yeah.
And so we could all, from the outside, not knowing that story, just be like, oh, that lady's house is gross. You just have no idea. And that's a really extreme version of trauma, right? But there is trauma sometimes related to not feeling safe and moving around a lot as a kid, or having lost things that really mattered to you, or those things being discounted by someone else, or just wanting to be safe and fed, or whatever it might be. And so, like, be really gentle with yourself as you think about it. Maybe your goal isn't these things, but maybe your goal is related to other things that also have sort of trauma. And so the key here is when something blocks or rises up and sort of prevents you from doing something, instead of just running away or quitting or pushing through anyway, just stop and get curious about what is this maybe about. That's going to go so much further than making a list of 10 items and getting up at 5 a.m. and going to the gym. Like, that stuff is fine, but it doesn't last, and it doesn't solve any of the actual stuff. It's these small things, and then just like really dealing with what maybe has created some of them. And a lot of them are painful. So go to therapy.
Yeah, go to therapy. And that's the other thing. That's the big
That's
takeaway.
my answer always.
Yeah. I was talking to, who was it? Oh, this week, Bill was telling us about Bill Duran, who does our maker stuff on Mondays. You know Bill. Bill is he started seeing a therapist, and not for any major earth-shattering reasons, but just because it's good to do one. And he was just raving about it. So maybe 2021's the year to get a therapist, and they're all online now because you can't do the whole in-office stuff anymore, at least for now. So
open like some of these text therapy ones. I've had people really have some good experiences with that, especially if it's not sort of life-threatening sorts of things. Yeah. It's great. And yeah, I mean, here's the thing too, therapists need therapists, so we need to save a few. So
what, you can't just
and
look in a mirror?
And they're also very busy.
You can't just look at it.
Therapists who need therapists.
You can't just look in a mirror. That doesn't work, right? You can't look in a mirror and go, Stuart Smalley, the whole thing. Okay.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's the thing I love to think about with masks. When people have masks on, I'm like, so now you can smell your breath, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're just not good at knowing our own stuff, and that's just real. So yeah, but if you've been on the fence, let 2021 be your year where you leap off that fence.
Well,
get some freedom here.
Let's do it and try. So you think my 3 days okay? It's an okay way of doing this.
I love it. Okay. I think it's great. One a day is great. I mean, if because the consistency, the smallness, that was exactly what I was going to tell people. Like, another thing to do that's interesting is rather to focus on habits.
Yeah.
To use the identity, like an identity marker for something. So, for example, I mean, I played a lot of sports in my life. So at one point I just thought of myself as an athlete. It wasn't even like a word I thought much about. But if you said, oh, are you an athlete? I'd be like, no, I'm old and I hurt. Like I'm not an athlete. But it's like, nah, actually, I really like physical exercise and I like sports so can I just be not an Olympic athlete, but like a basic one? So while you're exercising or you're doing something, you do a thing that an athlete would do, right? Or you organize the way someone who's organized would do. You kind of embody the identity of that thing rather than, okay, I'm going to do this and make a list and try to force yourself to be that person. It's kind of a weird technique, but it's a little bit of just like while exercising, be like, wow, I'm an out of shape athlete. Let's keep doing this. Like as if that's just who you are and something that you do. So Scott, you're a 3-a-day guy and that's just who you are. So there's a bit of like embodying the identity of something that they've found it can be pretty impactful. Just a way to think about it differently rather than I'm not this, or I have to do this. It's more like I'm an athlete taking a break.
Yeah. Well,
so, I'm organized. I'm an organized person. What does that even mean and look like and feel like? Well, you just start to do it and
right. And compared to who? That's the other thing, is everybody wants to compare themselves to everybody else. I'll go to somebody's really beautifully manicured, office space and go, oh, what am I doing? Like, but why am I doing that? Like, I shouldn't be comparing myself to anybody else. And they shouldn't.
And to your office, I'm like, I'm not a cartoonist. This is not what I would have on my walls because some of it does fit you, right? Like it is you.
Yeah.
So like maybe it's just a little more organized cartoonist is all you want to be.
Yeah, that's what I want. The organized cartoonist. By the way, this guy that wrote Atomic Habits, his name is James Clear. Is that really his last name?
That's
Clear.
Awesome, huh?
Yeah, that seems a little convenient to me. James Clear.
It's like Dr. Bones.
Yeah. Dr. Bones, very, very close comparison. All right. This is good advice. Hope everybody takes it and makes 2021 a little better than it needed to be. Or that it was, or that it is.
That it even is capable of being.
As it's capable of
there
being.
There we go. That's better, yes.
A little worse than I thought. But anyway. Wendy, we're glad to have you back. We'll do this again next time. And is there anything you want to mention or talk about before you go?
Real Steps is coming. Speaking of real baby atomic steps, it's going to be super fun. I'm really excited about stuff we're adding. February is when it starts, and I will start sending emails out pretty quick. So go to realsteps.org and just put your name on the email list if you love.
So February
emails.
Is it sign up month or is it actual like go for it month? Like
you will sign up this month. At this point, I need to update the website because did I mention I had cake for breakfast? So I'm a little behind.
That's great.
I did a little staring at some walls.
That's my New Year's resolution: is cake for breakfast. Man.
It's so good. It was Pete's birthday, so I got cake lying around. Anyway, the sign up will be soon, but right now, if you go there, you're signing up just to get the emails that are going to tempt you to do it.
Sure.
And we start in February, 1st of February. It's going to be a blast. So
nice. Check it out. All the details at realsteps.org. Wendy, have a fantastic week.
All right. Thanks. Bye, guys.
Time.
Thanks, Wendy.
Bye now. And this Adam Godley guy's still on our thing, and it freaks me out every time.
I know. Every time I look over at his giant ears.
I know. I feel like he can hear me wherever he is.
It's like Pee Wee Herman in the gimmick store going, what? What?
Hey, you do a good Pee Wee Herman. I don't know if I've heard that. Yeah. Have I?
I used to do that in the drive-thru at Taco Bell.
Hi, Pee Wee Herman. Can I take your order, please?
What? What do you want? Taco Bell Grande? Oh.
Wait, did you do that to real people? They were there to
I did that to real people in the Taco Bell drive-thru. I did, yeah.
Brian was one of those, you guys.
I think I've told this story before, but one point after doing that, woman pulls up to the window and says, "Could I see your manager, please?" I'm like, oh, crap. Did I do this to the wrong person? And I step away, and Jan, who had a nicer polyester outfit than I did, walks up to the window, says, "Hi, can I help you?" "Yes, I just want to say that there's a Taco Bell that's like a block away from my house, but I come to this one because of this guy right here and his funny voices on the drive-thru, and just want to let you know." It's like, whew.
That's adorable. That's great. Okay. Yeah, you dodged that bullet. You dodged that.
I totally did. I know. It could have
Chorito.
easily gone worse.
Yeah.
Now I'm hungry for Taco Bell. You want Taco Bell? Taco Bell?
Actually, I kind of do right now.
Taco Bell?
Taco Bell? Popeye? No, I want Popeyes, actually. I'll
Popeyes
take
chicken?
Popeyes.
Popeye?
I go Popeyes right now. Oh my gosh. Why, don't talk about this food. This all sounds good. We're going to take our leave. Before we do, a reminder that you folks at home are responsible for the show existing. And you make that happen over at patreon.com/TMS. Check out all our levels. Get art in the mail. Hey, what about daily bonus audio content you can't get anywhere else? That's the place to go. That's right. Patreon.com/TMS. And if you're looking for anything else, our website is over at the Frog Pants site, frogpants.com/TMS. All right. Let's play a closing song and then a benediction.
Closing?
Oh, this all
like
sounds
closing
like church.
time? You want that? Or you want...
Closing time. You don't have to stay, but you can't be here, right? Do I have the words?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Wow,
Okay.
Semisonic would be so proud that you got that.
Great.
Nailed it.
Great.
How about one going out to Barbara? They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Barbara.
Forgot to mention, that was in your clip yesterday of the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I thought that was so funny.
Oh, yeah. They've got some
Night
good
of the Living
references
Dead.
in there, for sure. Yeah. Pretty good.
Barbara wrote in and said, I know this is last minute, so if you can't play my request on my birthday, January 6th, any day will do. Well, how about January 7th? Celebrating a birthday so close to Christmas takes a little more work, but I'm worth it. How about a happy, upbeat song? Oh, Barbara. They're playing a song, Barbara. Can't do it now.
I love it.
Or can't not do it. I think we could all use an upbeat song today. How about something from the Get Up Kids? I mean, right there in their name, you can tell they're upbeat.
Yeah.
In 2008, they released an album called Eudora, and they included this cover of Close to Me by The Cure. This is so good. So much fun. The Get Up Kids and Close to Me.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network.
Frog Pants Network.
Get more shows like this at frogpants.com.
It's still real to me, damn it!
I hesitated playing that.